first one here. This is going to be a foie gras terrine is what we're going to call it, with the roasted strawberries, the noble syrup, and then the herb on there is called cola, or go-to cola. And I'll tell you what that is.
What's that?
And then this is just toasted brioche. The terrine is really simple. It's basically foie gras that's been completely deveined, and then it's marinated in cherry herring for an hour. From there, we actually take it off plastic, we put it onto a roasting pan, we cook it until it's warm to the touch, meaning the foie gras is somewhat melted, but it's not somewhat melted. As soon as it comes out of the oven, it goes over ice, and we re-emulsify the foie gras.
So it has that
So
moisty.
basically, you'll have a solid and you'll have a fat, okay? Then once you put it back over ice, it comes back together, it goes back to life. And from there, we stuff it into a terrine mold, and we fold in some of the roasted strawberries. The roasted strawberries are coated with salt and simple syrup, and then roasted in a 200-degree oven for 4 hours. So they're chewy, but they still have that like lusciousness to them, that like little bit of explosion. It's just on brioche. On the top, we just use a little bit of sugar in the raw. It's that brown sugar, and caramelize it real quickly. So that actually
With a torch?
with a torch,
Gives
it
it a
tempers
heat.
the foie gras, and it also adds like a little bit of crunch to the top. As soon as it's done torched, we put sea salt and Szechuan peppercorn on top. And then the go-to cola is basically a mix between parsley and chervil. It's just a nice leaf form, and then some more strawberries on the plate. It's pretty straightforward. Huh?
It's beautiful.
Wow.
We should have the AV guys up there so you can just do this once and we can all watch it.
Fine. Everybody should know this one by now, I hope. This is our tuna tartare. Obviously, we use Hawaiian tuna, so the price of this may go up due to the fact that ahi tuna is really hard to find right now. We're going to monitor it for the next few days, but right now we're paying $26 a pound for tuna.
Wow.
The tuna itself is 90 grams, which is right around 3 ounces. This is mixed with olive oil, Tabasco, chives, salt, and it's basically layered in between potato chips. And then a little bit of sprinkle of basil oil around. Just kind of reviewing some of it. The mixed greens, as everybody knows, we get a lot of ups and downs with this one. But this is the standard salad. It's basically the greens, soy truffle vinaigrette, tomatoes, radish, breadcrumbs, okay? This is always the way it's going to come. If they have gluten allergy, then the croutons come off. And obviously if they have a gluten allergy, they're not going to have the soy dressing either. The hamachi, I know everybody should know about this by now, but it's just really thinly sliced yellowtail, and yellowtail is in the amberjack family, if anybody wants to know. On top is just a little bit of diced radish, the mushroom vinaigrette, and then chervil and chives that have been really thinly sliced. The vinaigrette is always going to separate no matter what, and the base of the vinaigrette is mushrooms. So basically the first step that we do is we take the mushrooms, we saute them in the oil. So we're infusing the mushrooms into the oil. So if somebody doesn't like mushrooms, then they're probably not going to like the vinaigrette. And I know that's come up a lot lately, because this is why we put it back up, so we can discuss it.
We still have, the ginger
Yep,
soy.
the soy, the ginger, the shallots,
Dressing.
the mushrooms. It's probably got about 14 different ingredients in it.
This is the best.
Everybody knows the pea soup. We're serving it with a Parmesan foam. Obviously, that's not floating to the surface because it's stuck to the plate. The pea soup is real simple. It's a water-based soup. So we use onions, garlic, olive oil. We saute them until translucent. We add water. We bring that water to a boil. We pull it off. We freeze it with the peas. Meaning freezing is you take basically the peas, you put them in there, and reduce the temperature. We put it onto an ice bath, and we blend it cold. Into that, we blend pureed pea tendrils, which are the greens from the
color.
pea. For color, and
To
also
give
for
this
flavor.
nice color.
And also for thickness in this. The Parmesan foam just consists of Parmesan, cream, Thai chili. A little bit of thyme. Once it comes up to a slight simmer, we pull it off the heat, we hit it with a hand blender, and we strain it. And we shoot it out of a gun. And then the sourdough croutons that go with it.
That's the best thing.
One of the
I
top
missed
sellers.
it on our menu.
The oysters are always going to change. Right now we're using Kumamotos. Next we're going to go into Marin Kumamotos, which, what's the difference between Kumamoto and Marin Kumamoto? Kumamoto are probably more towards up Seattle, into Canada, where Marin is a county in California. So
Are they
a
farmers?
little bit of difference, but actually the water temperature varies quite a bit. So actually the size of a Marin Kumamoto is almost 3 times the size of a Canadian
Bigger.
or Washington State Kumamoto. And the mignonette is basically water, sugar, red wine vinegar, black pepper, a little bit of chives, and some tarragon. Very somewhat traditional. The warm asparagus salad is going on the menu. It's actually going to be 5 pieces of asparagus. We only have 4 here. He's probably trying to conserve them because he's he's going to go through a lot. But they're just warmed up, and then topped with a saute of the morel mushrooms, shallots, sherry wine, cream, and then finished with butter.
Warm up, you mean steamed or passier?
Warmed up as in just in the flash, so it's a dry heat. Once that comes to a sec, so everything kind of sticks together, goes over the top, and then we top it with a hollandaise sauce. And then around the plate is just an asparagus jus, which is basically juiced asparagus that's been thickened. Scallop dish here in front. It's going to be 3 10-12 scallops. 10-12 means size per pound. Seared on the plancha, just sea salt and pepper. It's going with, underneath there is a little bit of braised artichokes. The artichoke braising liquid that has an additional little bit of olive oil added to it. A little basil oil is going to be drizzled into it, and this is a salad of arugula and mizuna, both local from Hammock Hollow. And then orange powder goes over the top. Basically, it's orange peel that's been cooked 3 times in water, then cooked in corn syrup and dehydrated until it's crispy. We do it this way because it won't be affected by any of the humidity. Because obviously, as everybody knows, you can dry something out, but the humidity can make it very soft very quickly.
Is this dressing? Is the salad dressed?
Just with a tiny bit of olive oil.
Okay.
That's it. But the artichokes are under there.
We have the
Descriptions.
description.
Any questions on the appetizers before I move forward into entrees?
Question is that
So basically what we
No, it's going to be there. I just told them that.
It's
basically
5.
what we do, chef, we put the asparagus on the oil and just
Yeah,
like
basically
you
it's
don't
already
mix
been
it.
pre-blanched. So what we're doing is just warming them up to put them onto the plate.
So
Blanch
sorry,
them in what?
it's a blanch first.
Salt water, yeah.
in salt water.
What's that?
the picture of the foie gras.
Not yet.
It's a blanch first,
Yeah.
so it is cooked blanched, and
It's already
then you
cooked.
just
So what we're
warm
doing
it
is
up,
retherming it, yeah.
Dough.
just to turn a little bit
Yep.
warm. But
So
Blanched.
we have no questions on the appetizers. We're going to start on the entrees.
Yes, start on the entree.
We're going to start in front. This is our short rib. The short rib we use Wagyu, so it absorbs like a lot of the soy flavor a lot better, and I think we've had a better response to this one than the first time we've done it. There's just a lot in this. I can go through it. It's water-based. There's honey, there's vinegar, there's soy sauce, there's ginger, peppers. There's just so much in there. You just want to hit the key points, and that's about it because there's probably 30 ingredients. They're braised for 2.5 hours. They come out. They sit in the liquid overnight every time. Because of the braised meat, you're basically trying to break it down. So when you're breaking the piece of meat down, all of the liquid comes out of the muscle. So you want it to sit in that liquid to absorb more liquid. So once it's dried out, almost like fully cooked, you still want it to absorb some of that liquid so it stays nice and juicy. We heat it back up in its own liquid, and then that's obviously what we glaze it with. On the base is an apple jalapeno puree, which is just made with apples that have been peeled, and then we actually re-emulsify the skins back into them with just a little bit of jalapeno. It's really, really simple puree, but it's really good. There's also a little bit of absorbic acid, which helps with the acidity level, but also helps with oxidation, so it won't allow for it to get brown. The rosemary breadcrumbs, really simple. It's just microwave rosemary, so basically we dry it out, and then we grind it, and then we toast the panko and the rosemary together. And then the apple and celery salad, it's just apple that's been julienne, a little bit of olive oil, salt, and celery leaves.
Oh, it's amazing.
This one, this is the new lobster dish. This is just roasted Maine lobster. Basically, we just pop it in the oven with a little bit of butter and allow it to re-warm up. These are relatively easy to cook. Obviously, it's the whole lobster. So we have the tail and the 2 claws on top. The risotto is Meyer lemon risotto. We blanch it in vegetable stock with onions, carrots, celery, a little bit of dry vermouth, and basically cook it till it's almost done.
As alcohol.
Yeah, just we want to cook the alcohol out because alcohol is bitter, obviously. To pick up, we're going to add lobster stock to it, lobster knuckles, and a mixture of Parmesan, mascarpone, and just a little bit of creme fraiche, okay? And this is basically a one-shot deal. And then in that cheese, we have lemon zest. So it's kind of a one-shot deal. We put it in there, warms up, and that's why I say the whole lobster's in there because we're actually putting the knuckles in there, and we've never done that before. And then it's garnished with a little bit of celery leaves, some Fresno chili, and this puree on the outside is a mixture of basil, parsley, oil, garlic, okay? And a little bit of breadcrumbs, okay? So this is just going to re-emphasize the basil flavor.
That's beautiful. I like the green.
So that's the risotto. This should be a big seller. It was this weekend. The veal chop, we've seen this for a little while already, but it's our normal veal chop, 10 ounces. Underneath, there's a puree of almond. So what we do is we toast almond flour, and almond flour, all it is basically ground up nuts, Marcona almonds. What we do is we toast it to enhance the flavor a little bit, and then we mix this with cauliflower and cream and puree it. This goes on the plate and warmed up. Then we have a saute of artichokes, fava beans, and cauliflower, and Marcona almonds. And then the veal chop goes on top with the sherry glaze.
Genius.
It's done. Okay.
So we got fine chopped almonds inside the.
Yeah, you see them right here.
Crunch.
And everything's Marcona, so
What's the weight on the veal chop?
10.
Well, it was 12 before, we changed, or I always,
It's 10 ounces.
It's
always,
10? okay, I always said 12.
In
Bone
front
in.
here, this is let me smell it first.
Wagyu.
Yeah, that's the dry aged steak.
It's beautiful.
Smells different.
4-story hills. What's so special about 4-story hills? Does anybody know?
Only Michelin star restaurant and us we get it.
I think you've been smoking some shit.
They have their own portrait.
They have
Exactly.
No, they have 4 hills instead of 5.
No,
He's
it's
right,
one
very
of the
much so.
best.
It's one of the only pasture to plate restaurants. Basically, it's birthed, it's raised, and it's killed on the same farm.
The only one.
They have a
Oh,
USDA
really?
certified slaughterhouse on their farm, so they don't have to put it on a bus. They don't have to do anything to it. Basically, it lives and it dies and it's birthed all in the same area.
So sad yet beautiful.
Then it's dry aged for 30
So you're
days
not
for
eating
us,
this.
and the whole rib is sent to us whole.
Looks delicious.
So this is one of my favorite pieces of meat. Obviously, it's a dry age, so it's going to have that mushroomy off smell to it. Like that's why I smelled it. But it also has that little bit of aged taste to it. We try to shave off as little of the aging process as possible, but also at the same time, we don't want it to be overwhelming. But I think because it is a prime, first off, it's a piece of prime beef that's been aged for 30 days. So you're taking something that's tender and you're making it more tender. So there's not a lot of water in it, so it doesn't take very long to cook. But this is the final resort. The result, this is one of my favorite things. And right next to it is the grass-fed beef. This is the Piedmontese cattle. The difference, okay, the Piedmontese and the 4-story hills. Okay, the 4-story hills is not, Piedmontese is not just the ranch or the name, it's also the type of cattle that they use. It's actually a white cow.
Oh.
And they're allowed to grain, they're basically allowed to free range feed. What does this give? It says actually more healthier than this is, definitely, for
Just
sure.
have a special dietary.
It's just a special diet. It's leaner. It's better for you. Somebody who's looking for a better cut of meat that still wants a piece of meat,
They feed
that's
by
what you would
human.
suggest them. This one has the fat. It's got the marbling. It's got the flavor. Yeah, that's not the healthiest piece of meat you can have, but it's definitely one of the tastiest. So it's definitely a good alternative for us, and it's sold actually pretty well. This is the new salmon on the menu. Whoever has the 20 top today, we do have the old school one with the sweet chili. So we do have it for that party, okay? This is going with creamed fava beans. And in the creamed fava beans, it's basically fava beans, and everybody knows how much of a pain in the ass they're to pick. But it's got scallions, blanched basil, blanched mint, a little bit of white onion, some garlic. Basically, this is a 3-step process for blanching. So we actually puree the fava beans, and then we actually puree the herbs separately, and then we add them all in together, cool it down, and then it will be warmed up. It's going with sautéed fava beans and English peas. And then the salmon itself is, like I told you before, when we butcher it, as soon as the skin comes off, we portion it, and we immediately press it onto a piece of rye bread. So basically we use the weight of it, and it crusts itself. So when it comes to the process of picking up, we sear it on the bread side, almost like if it was skin, and it adheres right to it. The protein coagulates, it sticks to the fish. Flip it over, and we finish the cooking process.
Is there any dairy in the puree?
There is lots of dairy in the puree. So if they want just nothing in the dairy, then obviously we can just serve it with the peas and the fava beans, and that's not a problem at all.
No sauce.
Bronzino, everybody knows this one. This is just this crispy bronzino. This is cooked on the plancha. Just a little bit of oil, salt. We flip it over, hit it with a little bit of chili flakes. Underneath is an herbal bulgur, which is basically the herbal tea we use. It has dill, fennel, the hot water from the tea machine, basil, rosemary, thyme. This kind of makes this tea, and that's what we cook the bulgur in. And then there's a preserved tomato vinaigrette that goes over the top of it, as well as there's some Swiss chard, and in the vinaigrette is the preserved tomatoes that have been warmed up in hot water, and then champagne vinegar, elderflower cordial, olive oil, some shallots, and that's it. This one is sold really well too. The new black cod presentation, really simple. Again, this vinaigrette has quite a few steps to it. It has quite a few ingredients to it. So if you want to know the whole gambit of it, I have no problem, but it's all on your sheet. Just look underneath the actual design, and it'll go through all of the ingredients on there. This is still 48-hour marinated black cod with the miso. And then it's just broiled for pickup, so the skin gets nice and crispy. Underneath is just some sauteed bok choy. And then over the top of it is the fermented black bean vinaigrette. Fermented black beans are soaked in water before we use them, just to kill some of the saltiness of it. And then we fold in red pepper, garlic, shallots, a multitude of fish sauce, soy sauce, a little bit of water, vinegar. Like I said, we can go over the thing a little bit after, but there's probably, I think there's 19 ingredients to the vinaigrette. And then just a little herb salad on the top. This is our new chicken dish. I know everybody's going to miss the parm chicken, but basically the process of cooking is the same way. The pre-cook, obviously chicken takes 8 minutes. This takes 18 minutes if it's not pre-cooked a little bit. The thigh has been deboned and confit in oil, chicken fat.
Just like the other one.
Yep, exactly. And then the breast is it's got an egg yolk mixture on it that consists of egg yolks, water, some Thai chili, and sesame oil. And that's basically what the crust is.
So crust is made of?
The crust is made of cereal. So it's cornflakes, complete, and Rice Krispies.
So you said confit, is that cooked in one oil?
The
thigh.
thigh, yeah, we confit.
Just like before, you take the bone off
Yep.
and you put in oven in the oil. And
So,
So
it's
then
not going
that's-
to be very juicy, very...
Oh yeah. But the cereal
it's a sous vide
gives it
first.
that crust to it. And I know it may sound a little bit silly, but once you taste it, it'll make a lot of sense to you. We have glazed carrots underneath. It's got a little bit of orange juice, lime juice, tarragon, water, and it's basically just all cooked down together until it's almost a syrup. And then we basically reheat it up in that glaze. And then the sauce in the base is a little bit of soy, shallot, butter, and it's a base that we make here. And then we fold that into a roasted chicken stock. And it's just because there's a lot of lemon juice in the base, it needs to be thinned out with something, otherwise it'll be too acidic. So that's that. And then the new sides, we just want to go over the mushrooms real quick because we have had some issues with it. Obviously, it's just going to be a mix of wild and cultivated mushrooms, whatever may be in season. Like right now, there's oysters, there's maitakes, and there's hedgehogs in there. But we saute it. We steam them first. So basically, it goes into a pan with olive oil. We put a top on it and steams it to break the mushrooms down. We open it up and we fold in the portobello mushrooms that have been roasted.
It's
And then we
the
add-
same two ways.
Yep. And then we add in the shallots and the Thai chili and the butter. Okay? And then we finish it with rosemary and thyme. So now on the menu you will see chili next to the mushrooms.
So
So if somebody doesn't want it a little bit, it's not spicy, I don't think.
Yeah.
For my taste, but obviously I'm not the one buying them. So if they don't like spice, just take the chili out. Just say no chili. That's not a problem at all. And then the asparagus side, this is also going to come off the hot app station. It's basically just tossed cold with a mustard vinaigrette, and then it's put onto a pan with the crust and allowed to cook until it's nice and golden brown, so everything is hot throughout. And the crust is the lemon crust that we used to use on the last menu, so it's breadcrumbs, butter, lots of lemon zest, and sriracha.
Panko.
Yep,
It's a little
panko
thick.
breadcrumb.
It has a little kick.
Not even.
No?
You can try it and you tell me. But then that's laid over the top of the asparagus. It's popped in the broiler until it's completely golden brown. By that time, all the asparagus is hot all the way throughout. And it's got that little bit of spice and acidity from the vinaigrette that's tossed in.
Question: are we gonna be able to sell that without the crust? I'm sure there are a lot of people they will ask. Can you have it
You would be
without?
the first one, right?
No, but
No,
because
I
of the crowns and you know, I know.
Any questions?